Now we're going to talk about math resources, where to go and what you can do. Specifically, we'll go ahead and start with LBCC resources. We'll begin by looking at the academics webpage, where we can explore the Math Success Center, the Multidisciplinary Success Center, and some other on-campus resources. And after that, we'll look at some resources outside of LBCC. And now we'll go ahead and look at the LBCC website. Even though you could do this on your own, sometimes it's nice to have somebody walk you through it. So as I said, we're going to start at academics and come down to learning and academic resources. And this is where you see that we have links for the Math Success Center, Multidisciplinary Success Center, Writing and Reading, Tutoring, Supplemental Instruction, and Learning Resources. But let's start with the Math Success Center. So as you can see, they normally have a calculator loan program that unfortunately is currently suspended, but hopefully will be resumed soon. If you're enrolled in Math 110, 130, or 815, you actually have specific classroom activities called supplemental learning that takes place through the Success Center, and here's an orientation video for that. Most other math classes can click on the general orientation video to learn more about the Success Center, and there's even a separate one for statistics. But what most of you would probably be interested in is just the tutoring and tutorials. This is obviously private tutoring hours, which is one-on-one tutoring, as it explains up above. The summer hours are quite limited, but there's also tutorials where they have many online live presentations. So if you were interested in getting tutoring online, you would click the appointment form, fill it out, and let them know what days and times work best for you, and somebody should get back to you shortly. In addition to that resource, you could go to the Multidisciplinary Success Center, and they've got some videos on study skills that you might find important or other basic skills. There's a separate tutoring link. Now this is for the multidisciplinary tutoring, which is all subjects, not just math. So as you're filling that out, you may have to request a math-specific tutor, and that's if they're doing it live in the fall. But there are some other ways to get tutoring. And then the last one is just some learning resources that talks about some study skills and some more videos and potentially books to reserve, but I don't know that we'll have library access. So just giving you a quick run through of some options you have online. And of course, there's also external resources, most of which you're familiar with, the Khan Academy, YouTube, Google, and I'll look at those in a moment and probably won't even show you anything new. But let's also talk about the resources within your class. Your fellow students may be one of your best resources. In high school, a lot of times you've been going to school with the same students, so you kind of feel like you know people. And then when you get to college, it doesn't feel like maybe you know anybody in your class. But that doesn't mean that students don't speak student language and can explain things in ways that you might find more helpful. But that also doesn't mean that your professor is not one of your best resources. In college, sometimes students are a little intimidated to ask their professors for help, but most professors should have some form of scheduled office hours or at least set something up with you or return your emails. So really, the person who's going to be writing the test questions and grading the test questions, that might be the best person to ask to help you understand the material. And now for the external resources. So for example, let's say you have to solve factor a quadratic. Well, if you just come to khanacademy.org, well gosh, there's so much to do, and maybe you just know you're in Math 45, you're in pre-calc, and this feels a little overwhelming to figure this out. If the directions on the problem you're trying to solve says factor the following trinomial, factor a trinomial, let's see what we get. And so as you can see, there's different examples of problems. And oh, that one might seem a little easy. Oh, that one seems a little scary. When it comes to YouTube, again, just type in factor a trinomial. Tons of different videos. And this is where you can say, oh yeah, mine has a lead coefficient, whereas this one doesn't. You can see how many views they've had, 26,000, 58,000. So, maybe that helps you kind of decide what it works, or maybe you've already found somebody. But here's the one I wanted to talk a little bit more about. In terms of Google, factor a trinomial. What I find is, aside from getting videos that are probably right off of YouTube, you start to get those other websites, monetaryinstitute.org, Math Papa, oh, that sounds fun, Math Warehouse, it's probably just MECASCC, I can't even say it, the math page, etc. So you might just start to find pages that you find helpful, or you already have some resources that work for you.